Welcome to our adventures in discipleship from New Life Lutheran Church. Our focus right now is on care and support, that every disciple, every follower of Jesus is called upon to give care and support for those in need. One of the passages that we learn of Jesus calling us into care is Luke chapter 16, 19 through 31, where Jesus tells the parable of the rich man and Lazarus. There was a certain rich man who was clothed in purple and fine linen and fared sumptuously every day. But there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, full of sores, who was laid at his gate, desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. So it was, the beggar died, and was carried by the angels to Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. And being in torments in Hades, he lifted up his eyes and saw Abraham afar off and Lazarus in his bosom. Then he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. But Abraham said, Son, remember that in your lifetime you received your good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things. But now he is comforted, and you are tormented. And besides all this, between us and you there's a great gulf fixed, so that those who want to pass from here to you cannot, nor can those from there pass to us. Then he said, I beg you, therefore, Father, that you would send him to my father's house, for I have 5 brothers, that he may testify to them, lest they also come to this place of torment. Abraham said to him, They have Moses and the prophets. Let them hear them. And he said, No, Father Abraham, but if one goes to them from the dead, they will repent. But he said to him, If they do not hear Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rise from the dead. God cares. That comes across so clearly in so many ways throughout the entirety of this parable. God cares about our needs. He cares about our hunger. He cares about our sores. He cares about our hurts. He cares about bad things happening. God cares. Look in verse 21. He gives dogs who care for him, who lick his sores. Our medical doctors tell us that that heals. That's a gift from God, isn't it? Look at verse 22. Look who God sends also. Angels. God cares. Look again in verse 22. Look who else cares that God has given to Lazarus, the poor man. Abraham. And who else has God given who cares and who is intended to care for this poor man, full of sores and in need of food? The rich man. God gave the rich man with all of his substances to help him. But the rich man, right at his very gate, did not. We can look underneath that verse 20 and see that someone laid Lazarus at the rich man's gate, so someone else was caring for him, but the rich man didn't, though he was appointed by God too to care for him. I see further in verse 31, Moses and the prophets God spoke through to give care. And you can count up those verses, and the Bible's filled with encouragement to care for the needy, for the hungry, for the homeless, for the refugee, for the orphan, for the widow, to care and support them. And you see in verse 31 also the wonderful, wonderful witness that God sent his Son to suffer and die because of his care and support for us. And that his Son, risen from the dead, is given still to live and care for us. So why is it Christians care and support? You've got so many reasons given, pointed to in your adventure in discipleship. So many people around you who are even creatures and angels. But then to look at yourself is where this parable is pointing, and to who's at your gate, and who are you called to give your care and support to. God certainly cares.